The report, not my report, Andrew Filipponi says there is a verbal agreement between the 49ers and the Steelers. They have not agreed on a trade package. They're working it out, but he's eventually going to go to the Steelers. And if you don't believe Andrew Filipponi, like, why? I don't know him. Maybe he's not the guy. Then believe Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero or whoever with NFL Network. Those two say that they expect Aiyuk eventually will go to the Steelers, which is interesting. It seems like now it's more of like an inevitability, and the person who's going to get credit for the scoop is the person who gets the timing right. So now it's not really about if he's going to go to the Steelers. It's about when he's going to go to the Steelers and what the Niners will get back. So I want to talk about this at length today in a lot of different ways. Let's start about like the story from a journalistic perspective. It's one of the more interesting scoops I've ever seen. Just a week ago, you had the big guys, Ian Rappaport, Schefter, the local guys saying, it's looking like Niners and Brandon Aiyuk are going to probably get this deal done. And then some freaking guy with the dog avatar, Ricky, says, no, he's getting traded. No, he's getting traded. And all these, like, Schefter, Rappaport, like, what? What are you talking about? Colin Cowherd said, watch out for a new deal. So all of this anonymous person says, no, he's getting traded. When everyone thought it was trending towards a resolution to keep him in SF. He was holding in. He showed up. All that showed he embraced the coach. He's coming back. No, this guy said he's getting traded. And then this is when things got interesting. Matt Mayoko went to the Hall of Fame for Patrick Willis induction. When he's at the Hall of Fame, he writes an article, an opinion piece, saying, now that I've thought about it, I actually think the Niners could trade Brandon Aiyuk if they get a player in return. You remember that article, right? It was just an opinion. And he mentioned Cleveland and New England specifically, and mentioned Amari Cooper and Kendrick Bourne specifically. This was just Matt's brainstorm. That's how he wrote it. Wrote it from Canton. Who else was in Canton? I don't know. You tell me. So he writes this column, and this anonymous dog avatar dude on Twitter, Ricky, takes it a step further and says, no, it's the Steelers. He's getting traded to the Steelers. Cam Marino, some kid who writes for NFLDraftBuzz.com, says, yeah, it's the Steelers. It's the Steelers. It's definitely going to be the Steelers. And at this point, really, like, the national guys hadn't talked about it. The top local guy says, it would make sense to me if they traded him to Cleveland or New England. So all of a sudden, there's reports a couple of days ago. We did this together live. Oh my God, it's the Steelers. And now all these newsbreakers, local and national, have to say something. Because they didn't know about this. They've been 4 days behind this guy, Ricky, for the entire time. So what happens? Okay, Mayoko first. He says, instead of it being his idea to trade Aiyuk to Cleveland or New England, all of a sudden now he has sources saying that the Niners have deals in place with those two teams for the package that he was floating a few days ago. Manny's just that smart. He predicted it. And that's true. So all of a sudden, Ricky throwing these things out, you could say he's guessing or whatever, who knows, is forcing big J journalists to call people up, change their story. So all of a sudden, Matt went from, here's a dope idea I have, to, oh, actually, these deals are in place. Who knew? But what he wrote in that article is the Steelers are not an option, essentially not an option anymore. Like, Ricky's wrong. Yeah, there's some news. I'm breaking it. But what Ricky said and what Cam Marino said about it being the Steelers, they're not even an option. And Ricky just stands firm. He's going to Pittsburgh. And we're trying to believe, we're supposed to believe that the Niners have a choice here. That New England's in play when Aiyuk already nixed him before the draft. Or that Cleveland's in play when their quarterback is the biggest creep in the NFL and no one would want to play with him. I mean, would you want to play with? No. They're not an option. So Ricky stands firm, and then you see all these national journalists now sort of like slowly being like, well, the situation's fluid. Hey, you know what? When Ricky said the Steelers were involved, they weren't. But now it's been 3 hours, And you know what? They're back on the phone with it's the funniest thing. Ricky was wrong, but things have changed. And what he said ended up being right, but he's just guessing. I don't even know who he is. He has no inside information. I'm the newsbreaker. And now, they're back. They're back. It's like, so now it's a bunch of people who make a ton of money because they break news that's just fed to them, competing for who can say when this happens. Oh, it happened now. It's like, nah, Ricky had this days ago, man. He's going to Pittsburgh unless Washington or some team that Brandon's actually interested in comes in at the 11th hour and makes a better offer, which isn't going to happen. We saw today that Brandon Aiyuk's agent, also John Lynch's agent, was at the Raiders practice facility just because. The problem with we're going to talk about this in a minute, but the Niners have nothing. They're trying to get the Steelers to bid against themselves. Obviously, they want the Steelers to up their offer because it's going to be a terrible trade and the Niners are going to look stupid and they're going to lose. It's going to look awful and you're going to hate it. You're going to hate it when this happens. So they're trying to get the Steelers up their offer, but why would the Steelers budge when they're bidding against no one else? It's them or them. So Aiyuk's agent, also Lynch's agent, goes to the Raiders, and what's he going to say to Tom Telesco? Like, hey man, would you please trade Devontae Adams to the Niners for Brandon Aiyuk, please? And he's going to be like, how about no? So he could try. It's clear the Niners are trying to get a second team interested, involved, so they can get Pittsburgh to up their offer. But okay, so like the Niners could wait a few more weeks, whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as it takes, the Pittsburgh's eventually going to get Brandon Aiyuk. It seems pretty clear. And this was the report that came out in April during the owners' meetings. Was that March? There was a report that came out then. Someone said it it might have been Tomlin. Off the record, I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty confident we're going to get Aiyuk sooner or later because they're bidding against no one else. The Niners are trying to get a second team. Oh, New England's interested. They're not viable. Cleveland's interested. They're not viable. Maybe the Niners thought that Aiyuk would want to go to Cleveland. They won 11 games last year. Deshaun Watson used to be good 5 years ago. Like, why not Cleveland? Because it's Cleveland, man. Hell no. But they're better than Pittsburgh. No, Pittsburgh's a good organization. Cleveland's the worst organization. No, I'm not going to Cleveland. Okay, well, what about the Raiders? Well, the Raiders aren't making an offer. So it's a very interesting story. I'm just trying to look at it journalistically. It's the NFL. You can't have random dude with a dog avatar scooping Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport and Matt Mayoko. Can't happen. So when it happens, all of a sudden you see all these people trying to talk about timelines and, oh, you actually know he's wrong. He's guessing. I know. But it is going to be official soon, and I'll let you know. And then I'll take credit for the scoop. No. I think this is really cool. I think we should all be rooting for more people like Ricky to pop up and beat. Because do you really think Adam Schefter is just grinding on the phone every day and just getting these scoops where people give it to him? Doesn't it feel like a rigged system in the NFL where two people are entrusted to break every freaking story? Screw that. Let's get some guy with a dog avatar to beat him by 4 days. I think that's great. The NFL is way too controlling over everything. It's so controlling over the news that gets out and the messaging that fans, I think some players actually think the games are scripted. The league is scripted. That's a running joke for years. Oh, did you check the script this year? That's how controlling the league is over everything. Ricky is not part of the script. That's why we love this so much. He was not supposed to do this. He's been saying stuff that is not supposed to get out days before it was kosher. I wish this would happen more often, man. We need more. I got to get Ricky on the show. Do you guys want me to interview Ricky one day? Do you think Ricky would come on the show? Could we learn where he came from, where he went to school, when he realized he wanted to be an NFL insider, and when he knew that he could be the best? I want to know. Maybe you don't. I certainly do.